Hi, guys.
Today we're going to be talking about Patty Hearst and her kidnapping. Patricia Campbell Hearst was born on February 20th, 1954. Her grandfather is William Hearst, and he's known for creating the largest newspaper, magazine, and movie business in the world. At the time of her abduction, her father was one of a number of heirs, so her parents did not feel it was necessary to take measures for their children's personal security.
On February 4th, 1974, Patty was kidnapped from her apartment. A left-wing group called the Symbionese Liberation Army, SLA, claimed responsibility for the abduction. The kidnapping was partly opportunistic, as she coincidentally lived by the SLA's hideout. The group's main intention was to leverage the Hearst family's political influence to free two SLA members who had been arrested for the murder of Marcus Foster. When they were not able to get their members freed from prison, they chose to demand that the captive's family distribute $70 worth of food to every needy Californian, an operation that would cost an estimated $400 million. In response, Hearst's father took out a loan and arranged the immediate donation of $2 million worth of food to the poor of the Bay Area in an operation called People in Need. After the distribution descended into chaos, the SLA refused to release Hearst.
Stated in her testimony that she was held for a week in a closet while blindfolded. She also said her hands were bound and she only left the closet for meals. However, her blindfold remained on. When she began to join in the SLA's political conversations, she was given a flashlight for reading and SLA political tracts to memorize. She says that she accommodated her thoughts to align with theirs. When the SLA's counsel asked if Patty wanted to be released or to stay and be part of their organization, she chose to stay. After this, her blindfold was finally removed, and she was given daily lessons on her duty as a member. Allegedly, Patty was raped by William Wolfe and DeFreeze.
On April 3rd, 1974, Patty announced via audio tape that she had joined the SLA. She had also told the world that she had taken the name Tanya. On April 15th, 1974, Hearst was caught on surveillance tape wielding an M1 carbine whilst robbing the Sunshine District branch of Hibernia Bank in San Francisco, California. Hearst identified herself as Tanya by yelling, "I'm Tanya, up, up, up against the wall, mother bleepers." 2 men were shot and wounded during the robbery. James L. Browning Jr. said that her participation in the robbery may have been voluntary, contrasting with an earlier comment in which he had said that she might have been coerced into taking part. The FBI agent heading into the investigation said that SLA members were photographed pointing guns at Hearst during the robbery. On May 16, 1974, the manager at Mel's Sporting Goods in Inglewood, California, observed a minor theft by William Harris, who had been shopping with his wife Emily while Hearst waited across the road in a van. The manager and an employee followed Harris out and confronted him. There was a scuffle and the manager restrained Harris when a pistol fell out of Harris's waistband. Hearst discharged the entire magazine of an automatic carbine into the overhead storefront, causing the manager to dive behind a light post. He tried to shoot back, but Hearst began aiming closer. Hearst and the Harris couple hijacked 2 cars and abducted the owners. One was a young man who found Hearst so personable that he was reluctant to report the incident. Police had surrounded the main base of the SLA before the 3 returned, so they hid elsewhere. The 6 SLA members inside the hideout died, some in a gunfight with police and others in a resulting fire. It was initially thought that Hearst had also died during the confrontation. A warrant was then issued for Hearst's arrest for several felonies, including 2 counts of kidnapping. Hearst helped make improvised explosive devices. These were used in 2 unsuccessful attempts to kill police officers during August 1975, and one of the devices failed to detonate. Marked money found in the apartment when she was arrested linked Hearst to the SLA armed robbery of Crocker National Bank in Carmichael, California. She was the getaway car driver for the robbery.
On September 18, 1975, Hearst was arrested in a San Francisco apartment with Wendy Yoshimura, another SLA member. While being booked into jail, she asked her attorney to relay the following message. "Tell everybody that I'm smiling, that I feel free and strong, and I send my greetings and love to all the sisters and brothers out there." Shortly after her arrest, signs of trauma were recorded. Her IQ was measured at 112, whereas it had previously been 130. There were huge gaps in her memory regarding her pre-Tanya life. She was smoking heavily and had nightmares. Without a mental illness or defect, a person is considered to be fully responsible for any criminal action not done under duress, which is defined as a clear and present threat of death or serious injury. For Hearst to secure an acquittal on the grounds of having been brainwashed would have been completely unprecedented. According to her testimony, her captors had demanded she appear enthusiastic during the robbery and warned she would pay with her life for any mistake. Her defense lawyer, F. Lee Bailey, provided photographs showing the SLA members, including Camilla Hall, had pointed guns at Hearst during the robbery. In reference to the shooting at Mel's sporting goods store and her decision not to escape, Hearst testified that she was instructed throughout her captivity on what to do in an emergency. She said one class in particular had a situation similar to the store's manager's detention of the Harrises. Hearst testified that when it happened, I didn't even think. I just did it. And if I had not done it, and if they had been able to get away, they would have killed me. In court, Hearst made a poor impression and appeared lethargic. In her autobiography, Hearst expressed disappointment with what she saw as Bailey's lack of focus in the crucial end stage of her trial. She described him as having the appearance of someone with a hangover and spilling water down the front of his pants while making a disjointed closing argument. Bailey's final statement to the court was, "But simple application of the rules, I think, will yield one decent result, and that is, there is not anything close to proof beyond reasonable doubt that Patty Hearst wanted to be a bank robber. What you know, and you know in your hearts to be true, is beyond dispute. There was talk about her dying, and she wanted to survive."
On March 20th, 1976, Hearst was convicted of bank robbery and using a firearm during the commission of a felony. She was given the maximum sentence possible of 35 years imprisonment, pending a reduction at final sentence hearing, which Carter declined to specify. Because Judge Carter had died, Judge William Horsley Orrick Jr. determined Hearst's sentence. He gave her 7 years imprisonment, commenting that rebellious young people who, for whatever reason, become revolutionaries and voluntarily commit criminal acts will be punished.
Hearst suffered a collapsed lung in prison, the beginning of a series of medical problems, and she underwent emergency surgery. She was held in solitary confinement for security reasons. She was granted bail for an appeal hearing in November 1976 on the condition that she was protected on bond. Her father hired dozens of bodyguards. Hearst's bail was revoked in May 1978 when appeals failed and the Supreme Court declined to hear her case. The prison took no special security measures for her safety until she found a dead rat on her bunk on the day when William and Emily Harris were arraigned for her abduction. The Harrises were convicted on a simple kidnapping charge, as opposed to the more serious kidnapping for ransom or kidnapping with bodily injury, and they were released after serving a total of 8 years each. President Jimmy Carter commuted Hearst's federal sentence to the 22 months served, freeing her 8 months before she was eligible for her first parole hearing. Her release on February 1st, 1979, was under stringent conditions, and she remained on probation for the state sentence on the sporting goods store plea. She recovered full civil rights when President Bill Clinton granted her a pardon on January 20th, 2001, his last day in office.
2 months after her release from prison, Hearst married Bernard Lee Shaw, a policeman who was part of her security detail during her time on bail. They had 2 children, Jillian and Lydia Hearst Shaw. Hearst became involved in a foundation helping children with AIDS and is active in other charities and fundraising activities. Hearst published the memoir Every Secret Thing, co-written with Alvin Moscow, in 1981. Her accounts resulted in authorities considering bringing new charges against her. She was interviewed in 2009 on NBC and said that the prosecutor had suggested that she had been in a consensual relationship with Wolf. She described that as outrageous and an insult to rape victims.
Okay, what do you think about this?
I think it's just, the one thing I'm really thinking about is I just feel like it's really weird how she was just pardoned. Like, I don't understand why she was pardoned when she did all these terrible, crazy things.
I feel like they should have done more psychological analysis on her. After, they said, oh, she has, her IQ lowered 28 points, but we're not really going to look into that.
Yeah.
Why didn't that happen? And that's, my main takeaway from this is I feel like
they should have done more to, look, they should have looked further into it.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with kind of the final statement she made in this interview that, the prosecutor saying that she was, in a consensual relationship when she claimed she'd been raped, I feel like it's just way overgoing the boundaries and, not an appropriate thing to have said to her.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But
who knows?
That's all she wrote.
Okay. Thank you for listening to the story of the case and our opinions on the matter. We encourage you to do more of your own research and come to your own conclusions just as we have. Please be sure to join us next episode for another horrific case.